Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye has friends. No, really, Jeff has friends. Jeff's friends are on this podcast. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship. Jeff Dye's friendship.
Friendship.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, ghouls and ghosts, men, women, transgenders, cisgenders, and all the other people that might be listening to this podcast, animals, bugs, spirits. Welcome to episode 84. 84 weeks going strong of the Friendship Podcast, where me and Tony Reavis bring in my friends and we get to know them and we introduce them to you. This week we got in the Fortress of Solid Dudes and a friend of mine who I started comedy with back in Seattle. Since he has stopped doing stand-up comedy, we talk about that a little bit. He's been a server from as long as I've known. He's still in the service industry. I knew him when he was a scoundrel, trying to make it in stand-up comedy, and I know him now as like a married dude who I love and respect. We talk pretty often on the phone, but we don't get to catch up. But yesterday, we watched the Seahawks defeat the San Francisco 49ers in overtime, and I said, hey, how about you come on my podcast tomorrow? We catch up, and we just talk about all things Michael. And so in the podcast, Mike Cummings is a great guy. It was actually a weird one when at the end of the podcast, you might notice when I say, do you have anything you want to promote? And he kind of looked at me like, dude, I'm a married guy. I work at a restaurant. Like, what do you mean? So, because I kind of I didn't know what to do. I was like, yeah, I forgot. You don't do comedy anymore. You're not what would you be possibly promoting? But he's a really great guy. You guys are going to get to know this dude a lot. And I genuinely love him. He's one of the best dudes ever. He's really committed to making his life better every single day, whatever that change needs to be. He was in Guam beating people up and taking their money and being a drunk, homeless person. That's a true story. For years and years, and he decided, no, I want to get better. And now he's sober and a good guy, and he decided to chase his dreams doing comedy. And then when he saw what comedy became and what he was in this business, he was like, I don't want to do this either. I want to get married. And now he's a really loyal husband. But I've always respected his commitment to being all right, what's the shift I need to be happy? And he's great at doing that. And we could learn a lot from people like Mike Cummings. So without further ado, if you guys are listening to this podcast, remember, please hit subscribe. That helps us a lot. Maybe rate, review, leave us a little comment, leave us a little thing. Thank you to all the Patreon subscribers. If you're watching this, that means you're a Patreon subscriber. If you'd like to watch it, go to patreon.com/Jeff Dye. Hit subscribe, $10 a month. You get free comedy club tickets to all of my performances. You get little bonuses and little things. I can interact with you. You can directly message me on there and I'll reply. Plus you get to watch these episodes the second they come out on Wednesday each week. Without further ado, episode 84, Mike Cummings. Let's get into it. Boys, episode 84 of Jeff Dye's Friendship Podcast, and I couldn't be happier to have two smiley Seattle boys.
Yeah, buddy.
We're recording this, just so you know, on the Tuesday following the Monday Night Football versus San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks. This will go up. You're hearing this now on a Wednesday, but I woke up pretty happy today.
Oh, I'm still not over it.
Dude. That was not only, obviously, for obvious reasons why we liked it. We're all Seattle people. Of course. But what an exciting game.
Great game. It was the craziest game I've ever seen.
And
one of
the best Monday night game I've ever seen.
Top five,
that's 100%.
Top 5 craziest games.
So good. Overtime. It looked like it was going to end in a tie.
Yeah. Seattle's games are legendary.
Yeah.
I mean, look at our Super Bowl loss. Will never be forgotten. People will never forget that Super Bowl.
They won't let Super Bowl XL?
When we lost to the Patriots.
They won't let us forget.
Oh, the Patriots.
They show it every time we're on NBC.
It sucks that we lost and how we lost and everything, but just being a part of that game, I'm not a bitter guy when it comes to that Super Bowl.
Yeah. Me neither. I don't give a shit at all. Actually, famously, I think that Super Bowl is it's over dramatized.
Yeah.
We like wouldn't there was still like 2 minutes left or something like that, or a minute and a half for like the Patriots. Like even if we'd have scored with Marshawn, they could have ran it back.
Yeah.
That's plenty
They
of time
could've.
for Tom Brady.
They could have.
The only reason we were even in that position was because of that ball that bounced off of
Jermaine Curse
Yeah, I mean, he never should have caught that ball. We shouldn't have been in the position to win that game.
got up and scored too.
Yeah. So it shit happens. It's
when
football.
also people
That's
act
what
like
makes football so
people
great.
always act like they're like those. Oh, you're playing the Patriots. You must be so. You must really be upset with them. You must really hate them since that Super Bowl. Is like they're not our rivals.
No.
Yeah, no.
The 49ers are our rivals. The Patriots are just a phenomenal football team that made a great defensive play.
Yeah.
I do hate the Patriots, but only because of Jay Hollingsworth.
Oh yeah, that's a good reason. We have a friend who's
he's a poor representation.
Boston everything. Also, that's something that's always irked me about the Patriots. Just be the Boston Patriots, you idiots. Like, it's such a business move to just go, oh, we'll take the whole region. There's people in Maine who are like, our Patriots did it. It's like, they're the Boston team. You're the Boston team. You're not.
Well,
Yeah, but
it's
what do you-
not like Maine has
can't
another
claim a region.
Yeah, but what do you do? What do you do?
Yeah,
What do you do if you're in Boise, Idaho?
exactly.
Like, get out why those fans are claiming it. But because they've named it New England,
Yeah.
like, it's made them believe this is our home team.
You know what it is? It's football gerrymandering. They have
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's unfair. Like, if I was a commissioner of any sport, I would be like, listen, you can't be the Texas Rangers. You have to be the Arlington Rangers or the Dallas Rangers.
Yeah.
And then, because what does that mean? The Houston Astros just play inside you? It doesn't make any sense. You're all of Texas, and then the Astros are just like,
So
they're
San,
just
San
Houston.
Francisco Warriors instead of Golden State.
Yeah, well, I've been very vocal about that on Twitter about how embarrassed the Golden State Warriors are that they're from Oakland.
Yeah.
They never refer. They would always be like, oh, we're Golden State. They have little trolley cars on their jerseys. They have like the bridge.
Yeah.
It's like, which is a staple of San Francisco.
Well,
we all know it connects to Oakland, but like when you think of the San Francisco Bridge, you think of or you think Golden Gate Bridge, you think of the San Francisco.
Yeah, they have zero ties to Oakland now.
Wait, the
Like,
bridge
they're not
on
even-
the logo, it's not the Golden Gate Bridge though, isn't it? Isn't it the other bridge?
I think it's the Golden Gate Bridge.
I don't know.
I didn't know that. I thought it was the Oakland Bay Bridge.
I don't know, but they have zero ties now that they're actually in San
Yeah,
Francisco.
maybe you're right. I don't know.
Mhm.
Comment, tell us. I don't know.
It's-
But my
it's-
point is, I
It
don't
says San
like.
Francisco like on their court. They wear jerseys that say San Francisco.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, that makes
Which
sense.
I think is so rude. Like,
Yeah.
like, why now are you so? What happened to this whole Golden State? You're still in the Golden State. That why don't you keep the Golden State? But there's just like there's something. They're like, oh, Oakland has a
That one's-
stigma.
I think that's the weird. Is that the weirdest like team name? Like
Golden State, yeah.
like
Warriors?
at a sport because that's not even like a city or nothing.
Right.
Like New England at least is a region, I guess.
Yeah, it's a connected.
I guess that's
Yeah.
still pretty weird. But like Golden State is like, is that
the
that's
District
so
of
weird.
Columbia is a weird one. I mean, that if you think about it, the Washington Nationals. I mean, that's pretty weird
Yeah, but they go by
because it's a
they-
district.
Yeah, they go by Washington though. Versus like it'd be like if we were the Evergreen State.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Some things like that'd be really weird.
Yeah, but I think DC Nationals would even sound better than
Yeah, I think so
Washington
too, yeah.
Nationals.
Yeah.
They only did it because the old baseball Washington Senators. I
Yeah.
think they were trying to like be like, we'll be like, hey. Anyways, the point is, we had a great Monday Night Football.
Oh my gosh.
I think the Utah Jazz has the most annoying name
Right.
because what fucking jazz is played in Utah?
Yeah.
Yeah, all of those since they've all moved
Yeah.
around so
Yeah, because
much.
they were in New Orleans
Yeah.
before. Yeah.
Yeah, I just
Change the name.
I imagine
Yeah.
they have jazz there. Why not?
I don't know.
It's just a type of music.
I
It's
know,
not like
but-
that's exclusive to regions.
Yeah, but isn't that what the point of team names are kind of
Yeah, it
supposed to
should-
be?
No, they haven't been forever.
It should be the
But I mean,
Utah.
when one is specific, like Jazz was specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can say the same thing about the Los Angeles Lakers. There's no
Right.
lakes out here.
Minneapolis.
That's true.
yeah. Well, you could do that for almost every NBA
Yeah,
team.
that's true.
Like, but also the
well,
NBA.
the Sonics was perfect.
Ugh, this is a weird conversation. The
Because
NBA
of
is
Boeing.
famously, because I feel like I'm telling you guys something you already know and something our viewers already know. I feel
Hey.
like they all, like, this isn't, no one's learning anything here.
That's okay.
But the NBA is the only league that made all their expansion teams and stuff, like, name it after their city stuff. So, like, the Sonics were because the Boeing
Boeing,
the
yeah.
Sonic, whatever. But, like, all the other teams, they don't do that.
Yeah.
They try to loosely, but they don't really do it, I feel like.
Wait a minute,
Yeah.
you're saying the league itself dictated?
Well, no, like the NBA had a reputation, like in the beginning,
Mhm.
like your teams were kind of named after your thing. Whereas like now, like even the XFL, right? They just got all this thing. And it's like
Yeah.
LA Wildcats, the Seattle Dragons.
yeah.
Like it was just now it's like a marketing teams are like, what's creative, what's something that's fun, what's something that the
Yeah.
fans will like. Whereas in the original with the NBA, they were like, we should name it after our town. The
I kinda like
New
that.
Orleans. I like it better, but
Yeah.
it's not a thing really.
The Dragons? What
You
are
know
you,
what the LA
a fucking
Dodgers
high
are?
school team?
LA Dodgers are because in Brooklyn,
Yeah.
they used to be called the Trolley Dodgers. Well, that's not even official. Nobody even knows if this is true. They're guessed that it was because people would like jump in between the roads, like trying to just, being brassy New Yorkers getting from place to place. They would dodge trolleys from hitting them.
traffic, yeah.
So they call them like the Trolley Dodgers, and then it got shortened to like the Dodgers, and then they
Yeah, that's
became
weird.
the Brooklyn Dodgers.
That's strange.
Yeah. But
Boy.
so the Los Angeles Dodgers doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah.
But good luck changing the Dodgers name. That's never going to change.
That's
No.
not gonna
It's a
happen.
historic team.
Yeah.
Lakers either.
Did you guys? How many people did you get to text yesterday about that Seahawks win?
Just the guy I had money on it with.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had I texted with my best friend, but like I can't talk to him during the games because like he's like the negative guy. Like he'll only text me when something bad happens.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I'm watching. I don't have cable, so I'm streaming on the ESPN app on my TV. So it's a couple minutes behind. So it's like I'm talking to my brothers, but they know not to text me because they know I'm behind. So it's like I have to like put my phone away and like cover it so I don't even hear it vibrate.
Yeah.
Like because I don't want anything to be spoiled, even if it's good or bad. I just want to be able to experience it. But I have one friend who's a 49ers fan, and I haven't talked to him in a while. So I texted him yesterday, and I was like, "Hey, buddy, I love you, but today I fucking hate you.
Yeah.
You're a punk bitch.
Oh, wow.
And I'm glad the rivalry's back."
Yeah, me too.
And then he
It's
was
fun
like,
when they're both
and he
good.
was like, I couldn't have said it better myself. So I'm glad we got the win. It was
It was so fun.
it was great.
I can't get over it.
I
wish
thought
you'd
I
have
was
been
gonna
with
wake
us.
up with no
We were at a
voice.
Seahawks bar
Oh yeah.
right here by my house. And I won't say where because then you'll know where my house is. But the place was going crazy, and there wasn't even
Yes.
that many people in there. To be fair, like I've been to Seahawks bars where it's like just packed to the rafters. You
Yeah,
know, like
yeah,
in
yeah.
New York and
There
stuff.
were as many babies in that bar
Yeah.
as there were
Sports
patrons.
fans. Yeah, it's true. That's a big pet peeve of mine. Kids in bars.
Right.
Get a life.
Yeah. But that was me when I was a kid.
So what?
I was
Your
a-
parents were wrong.
I was at, sure. But I
Look
was
how
at,
you turned
I was
out.
at bars. Yeah.
Yeah. Fine. No, but it doesn't make any sense. Like the selfishness of being a parent. Like you chose to have kids, and we're all supposed to all fall all over ourselves because you chose to have a kid. Oh, let them board the plane first. They chose to have a kid. Oh, hey, they've got kids with them, so let them park closer to the store. Oh, they have kids. If they want to go to a bar and bring their kids, as long as their kids are behaved. No.
Yeah.
These are choices if you want to go to a bar, get a babysitter
Yeah.
or go to a restaurant. You don't get to go to a bar.
Yeah.
Bars are for adults where people will
Especially-
say fuck,
especially
and where people
here,
will
yeah.
drink and where people will shout and people will make loud noises. Babies and kids shouldn't be in there. And you're
Yeah.
selfish for going, well, I can have them in here. Why can't I have a beer just because my kid's with me? It's like, you're a bad parent.
Parents have more entitlement than actual people with service dogs. Like there are blind
Yeah.
people that I work in a restaurant. And there are blind people that will come into the restaurant with their dog, and we'll say, "Well, we have a special section, for the dog people. I hope that's okay." Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. You bring your kids in here. I sit you down. Another table says, "We want to move. These kids are being too loud." And what's the matter with you? You
Yeah.
don't like children. Ugh.
Yeah. No,
Like,
we don't want to be near your
I don't
kids.
like your fucking children. They're
Yeah.
obnoxious.
Yeah.
I have to stop them from running all the time in the restaurant.
Ugh.
And I'll say, "Hey, don't run. You're going to fall down. Don't yell at my kid." Well, you should be. I hope he gets creamed and.
And then they'll be even more upset.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I remember that when I waited tables about how many times people would be like, well, can we sit in that booth? And you're like, no, there's sections and there's a whole system
Yeah.
that the host is doing, And then they'll they'll throw a fit and just move over to this booth. And then there's kids and they'll be like, well, it's just like, it drives me insane. Like I
Yeah.
would just literally like lose my mind. I was like, if I had a restaurant or a bar, I'd be like, no kids. It's just, that's the rule. No kids.
We want to sit here in this 2-person booth with our 4 kids.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, you're not. We'll just put a chair on the end. No, you won't, because there's no way you're going to fit all. I know you think, I just. They're so stupid.
You're
Yeah.
probably the longest server I know.
Yeah, it's. I've done serving longer than I did comedy.
Really?
I've been serving longer than I've been sober.
Yeah. All right, so let's do this because I was a server. Oh no, so let's say that. How long have you been sober? 20 years?
20 years this year.
Nice, dude. Congratulations.
Back in April.
I think I've referenced that on this podcast before. We talked about that. I went to his AA meeting, like his birthday thing. I was very proud to be
Thanks
there.
for breaking my anonymity on your fucking podcast.
Is that a thing? You're not supposed to talk about it?
I'm kidding.
Oh, I don't know how it
I
works.
mean, technically, maybe, but anymore with social media and everything,
Yeah.
it's just not. It's impossible to maintain anonymity anymore,
Yeah.
especially because the tradition says,
it's like Fight Club.
you stay anonymous.
Yeah.
Especially in matters of media and print.
Right.
Because the problem was back in the day, there was a certain point where celebrities would famously get their shit together, go on TV, say, I'm in AA, they've saved my life, and then kill somebody with their fucking car a week later. And then everybody would go, well, I'm not going to AA. It doesn't do anything. Look what this, they think we're all assholes because of these couple of famous people
Exceptions,
who publicly announce that they've saved, that they're saved from AA. And then screwed us.
Is AA as big as it's always been?
Oh,
bigger?
It's so huge.
Okay,
it's
because it's
never going to stop growing.
What company would say, "Hey, don't advertise, don't do press"? Don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, as a company, you think that they'd be like, "Yeah, there's going to be exceptions."
AA is not a company though; it's a nonprofit fellowship. I mean, it's
well,
loosely
think about
organized.
I was comparing it. I was putting it in the same category as like Nabisco and like the Catholic Church. Like those are business. What you want? It's a group. It's an organization. It's a community.
AA doesn't own anything either.
So I would say like, if like let's just work from an ethical mindset. Wouldn't you think maybe someone listening is kind of sad and they're listening to my happy-go-lucky bullshit on here and they're thinking, I like listening to Jeff because he cheers me up and he's silly and goofy. Oh, he had a guy on here who said AA's like really helped him. And then like, do you think from that ethical mindset of like, that's kind of promoting in the right way of someone saying, hey, maybe I should try a meeting. Like, that's pretty, I don't know. I could probably make it to a meeting somewhere locally. Like, I think it'd be good press for that.
Well,
Not making him money, but it's a good press to
that's absolutely true
Until he drives into a storefront when he's drunk or something. Then that's not
he did drink tequila
that's
last
not
night
a great
in a margarita.
Almost.
No. He thought he did. He's had alcohol for so long that it was like this really sweet and sour kind of thing. And he goes, "Oh no, does this taste like it has tequila?"
I really thought, I like virgin margaritas.
Yeah.
And
But a bar can botch a virgin margarita.
Sure.
I don't know how many times I've ordered a drink. I say soda water, no ice, and these servers and bartenders cannot help themselves. They put ice, they put a straw, they put a lemon, they put a lime. I was like, you're doing more work. I'm just said soda water, no ice. It's all it has to be.
I think literally every time we're at a restaurant, that's happened.
Yeah.
I've seen you order with no
What's
ice
with
and they
the
get
lemons
ice.
and limes? No, not everyone needs it. You're not churching it up. That's $0 on your tab. Like just
Wait a minute. If you say soda water, no ice, but you don't say no lemon or lime, it might be automatic. I know for us, it's automatic.
right. But I've actually said, and this makes me sound like I'm being more of a diva because I go, just a soda water, no ice, no straw, no lime, no. I'll say that, and it makes them be like, okay, like it sounds like I have all these demands, but I'm actually those demands are saying it's just a simple soda water with no ice, and then they'll still bring it on accident because they're just in habit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I can't believe how often it happens.
Yeah. My wife has a friend who we went out to breakfast and she said, "Oh, every time we go to Denny's, they never make the hash browns the way I want them. I want them a certain way, and I have to send them back every time, and blah 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 blah." I said, "Have you tried to ask for it this way?" And she said, "Yes." "Have you tried to do it like this?" And she said, "Yes." And she said, "Mike, you've been doing this for 20 years. What should I do?" I said, "You should stop ordering your fucking hash browns." Because
If you
every
told them
time you
all
go to
that-
Denny's, they for some reason Denny's has a policy where they make their hash browns in a way that it doesn't conform to what you want,
And you don't like it.
and they're never going to get it right, and you're never going to be happy, and it's going to cause you issues every time you go there. Just stop doing it, or just eat them the way they
That's
bring
the
you.
short answer. That'd be like the punchline. Well, I've ordered my hash browns 10 different ways, and they still keep screwing it up. You've been in service industry for 20 years. What should I do? Get the pancakes.
Yeah.
And that's what you do.
She said, "No, Mike, you don't understand." I go, "I understand 100%. I deal with people exactly like you every day
Right.
who order the same thing every time, and they're never happy with it."
Right.
Eggs is the weirdest thing. It takes you 10 seconds to eat 2 eggs.
Right.
And people will send it. It takes 20 minutes to finally get it to them the way they want it.
Right.
3 trips to the kitchen, and then they fucking eat it in 10 seconds. And you've just wasted 20 minutes of your life and my life over 2 eggs.
Yeah.
It is interesting too, like how like I don't know where I stand on I'm all over the map on what I think a good restaurant server / customer should be. Like for instance, like I would never send something back because it didn't taste good to me. That's ridiculous. Taste is subjective.
Right.
I ordered it. there was nothing. There wasn't a hair in it. I get that. There wasn't like it wasn't like bleeding when I said well done.
Undercooked or
Yeah, it wasn't.
overcooked.
It was literally just this order isn't something I like. I made a bad choice. Why does the restaurant have to ding a $12 entree because I fucked up the it makes no sense. And people are like, no, Jeff, if you're paying for it, you should enjoy it. But some people are impossible, or some people are cheap fucks and they'll say I don't like this and they just didn't want to pay for it.
I agree with that if you aren't patronizing the same restaurant over and over. If you're a
Just
regular
once.
at a restaurant
yeah.
and you say, I want to try this, and then you try it and you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
I, as a server, would say, Jeff, I'm going to get you, let's get you what you want.
So
I would rather you trusted us that you could try something that you haven't tried before. And if you don't like it, it's just, it is part of the business.
Right.
I don't expect people,
So in the scenarios where this has happened, because it happened to me once at a movie theater right before I went and saw Joker. It happened to me. It's probably happened like 5 or 6 times a year where I don't like what I order, and I always say, I'm happy to pay for it, but I would like to order something else, and I'll pay for this. I screwed it up, not you. It's fine. Also, I'm probably just hungover, and it's like tasting weird to my stomach. And in the scenarios where the server's like cool enough to be like, dude, it's cool. I took it off the tab. We want it, whatever. My rule is I tip them. What I'm going to tip them plus the amount of that entree, like to reward them that they did a really nice thing for me that they didn't have to do.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Because like it's not on. I don't know. I think being a server so long made me realize like you can be a good customer or you can be a twat.
I honestly look at it as a short partnership. Especially, I work the power lunch crowd. I that's most of my career has been working lunch, and you have to be fast and efficient. People only have a certain amount of time, and you just have to time it right and get people in and out so they can get back to work and get back to their lives in fast enough and the food correct so that they come back and they come, they're my regulars and I take care of them and they can trust, I got this much time. I'm going to go have lunch. Mike's going to take care of me. I'm going to get back to work on time. In that, there are certain things that I need from them. I just need you to answer the questions. I have a couple of quick questions just to make sure you got it the way you want. I drop checks right away. I give people an opportunity to pay right away if they want. And people still fuck that up and blame me. They'll sit there with their check for 20 minutes.
People
and then all of a sudden, I got to get out of here. Why am I waiting to pay? I've been waiting for you to pay for a half an hour.
Right.
You've been sitting there drinking coffee, looking at your goddamn Facebook, doing nothing.
Waiting
you could have been
tables.
paid and ready to walk out the door. But no, now you're yelling at me because I'm taking care of the other fucking 5 tables that were
Waiting
here.
tables is the quickest way to like lose your humanity because the hungry public can be brutal.
Yeah.
And then also making people pay for something, they get very like proud of themselves. Well, I'm paying for a thing and you have to blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Have you ever waited tables? Because there's an old saying like, oh, everyone should have to wait tables at some point in their life.
I've worked retail, but not
That's
not
a
service.
dissimilar animal. They're very close.
Yeah.
Similar, but hungry is a different beast.
That's true. People.
We've talked about serving so much because it was such a big part of my life, and then you've been doing it forever. I think that there's 2, if I remember correctly, 2 things that we fundamentally disagree upon about it. One is you're a tip no matter what guy.
I'm for an atheist who doesn't believe in luck or karma or anything. That is one thing that I don't fuck with.
Oh, interesting.
I tip 20% no matter what because
and I think that's insanity.
Because I have only because I'm a server. I do not expect people to tip no matter what.
Right.
I tip no matter what.
Okay.
I expect people to tip according to service.
Me too.
Yeah, we don't disagree on that. I just personally in my life, I can't not tip. I've not tipped or tipped less than 20%.
Okay.
I could count it on one hand.
Yeah.
And I eat out 5 times a week.
I tip really generously, but and here's another thing that I think we might disagree upon is if she or he, I don't know why I made it a girl.
It's always a she.
If they can screw everything up, right? They're like spilling things and they getting the order wrong, and I have to send it back because it's not even close to what I ordered, and then it comes back and I'm like, okay, like now it's been a longer meal. Everything. If they get everything wrong, but I just like their attitude and they're apologetic and they're sweet, I tip phenomenal. Now, if they got everything right, but there was no small talk, there was no anything, there was no personality, like it did, I will tip pretty standard, like pretty average tip. Like I won't give them a good tip. I'll just give them like
we definitely disagree on that.
yeah.
I like personality goes a long way if you're a fuck up.
Yeah, if you're screwing things up, yeah.
But if your
you nailed it.
personality is covering up the fact that you're lazy and incompetent and don't give a shit, you're screwed. I'm gonna, I'm tip you 20%, but
Yeah,
I would,
see,
I
I'm
would
gonna be
hope
happy about it.
I would hope everybody else stiffs you all day long.
Yeah.
But if you're efficient and professional, that's all I care about.
Right.
I had an incident one day where I was drowning. It would have been obvious to someone who's never been in a restaurant before that I was in the weeds,
Right.
overwhelmed,
Triple
and still
set,
managing
like-
to just juggle everybody. And I go up to this guy and hey, thanks for waiting. What can I get for you? Blah, blah, blah. And he goes, you could smile.
Oh, wow.
And I said,
Oh, dude.
dude, look around. I could smile or I could get your order right.
Dude,
I
yeah,
can't do
fucking-
both.
yeah.
Which is it going to be? And I'm sure that guy stiffed me. I don't even remember
Oh,
what he
yeah.
tipped me. I just remember that
you
comment.
could
That's a
You could
brave ass
smile.
thing to say to someone.
Dude, you
like,
should
man.
hashtag me too, that guy.
Fuck
How
off.
dare he tell you to smile? How dare
I
he?
want to smile and I want to be
Yeah.
pleasant if I have time. But
Right.
what's more important to me
Is
is
being
getting
efficient.
you what you need and what you paid for when you want it so you can move on with your day. It's not an event.
I get it. Yeah. I know,
Told
but
you
yeah,
to smile.
it's really funny. Did I?
What
have
can I get you?
told-
How about a smile, sweetheart? Fuck you.
Yeah, smile, sweet cheeks. Wait, so have I told the story on the podcast about what I did to that one girl in Arizona
No.
about tipping?
Uh-uh.
Okay, here's a story for you.
I can't wait.
Dude. And I once told the story to Bill Dwyer, and Bill Dwyer, so I make myself the hero in this story. And Bill
Yeah.
Dwyer was just like, "Oh, is that what you did?" Like he just patronized me so hard. And I told the story to like a table of comedians at the Comedy Magic Club, and he just lights me up. Like, what? Like, oh, you think you're like a big guy for doing that? I was like, Bill, I'm not your friend. You don't even know this bitch. Like, yeah. So, anyways, here's what happened. I was very proud of myself, but it doesn't always go over. Me and Brant go into this bar, and it's like it's very slow. Probably that in between hour between like the lunch shift
Can
over.
I interrupt real quickly?
Yeah.
Just the fact that this story starts with me and Brant Tobler.
Yeah.
I already know where it's
It's already
going, kind of.
trouble, yeah. So we come in there. It's like 3:00 in like those like Arizona in the like little Scottsdale area. It's all college kids and famously good-looking college kids too get those jobs because they're like really beautiful girls from ASU and all these different things, and they're all the bartenders. So they're like new at being bartenders, I would guess, because they're young, and also they're very entitled. They're getting treated really great everywhere they go because they're young, hot chicks, and they probably are a little over it, So we go in there, and it's in between like dinner and lunch. It's like 3-something, so it's like dead. One of the bartenders is working, is super hot, and me and Brent sit down. We're all like excited, like we're gonna get to flirt with this bartender. There's nobody else here. It's like whatever. So then she's like wiping down bottles, like doing like side work, or obviously just she's making it seem like she was so busy back there.
And you're already sitting.
Yeah, and we're at the bar,
Waiting for her to-
bring menus or silverware, or like just say hi to us or ask us for IDs, anything. And we're sitting there and we're waiting.
Just looking for a
and
smile.
she keeps like looking over at us, like annoyed that we came in, which is a server thing. When like you're like you don't
Wait,
want
what time was this?
like 3:30 probably.
In the afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, she got no right to act like that.
And she's the bartender, right? So she either just got there or she's leaving. We don't know. I'm guessing.
Just got there. Nobody cleans the bottles at the end of their
Right.
shift.
Yeah. Okay. So
You
then
get the
there we
fuck
go.
out and leave it for somebody
So
else.
she's like wiping things down, and she keeps looking at us like she's super annoyed. And then she comes over. No, what's up, guys? No, hey, no menus, no nothing. Just like, she just goes like kind of gives that like door guy thing where you put 2 fingers in the air and tell them you need to see the ID. And so we kind of looked at each other like smiling like yeah, right.
Asshole.
And she's like, your IDs. And we're like, oh, okay. Also, she's like 22. We're fucking almost 40. I think Brant is 40 at the time. And so I take my ID out and I just show it to her. And then Brant like opens his wallet. It's like in a little leather thing with like the clear. And she goes, can you take it out of the plastic? And so Brant and me, we were shocked. Like, I don't know what happened. Or like, did she just get like in a fist fight before work or something? Like, what? Did she just get divorced? So that she sees the thing, and then she goes, what do you guys want? And we're like, I'll have a Jameson Eat and a soda water, and if I could see a menu. And then Brant was like, yeah, I'll have the same thing. She walks away. She goes right back to cleaning. She doesn't pour the thing. She doesn't anything. And so we're just kind of sitting there. And then this might have been where I lost her, is that I go, you know what else I could take is a little small talk. Maybe a little small chat. That'd be nice. Maybe some friendliness. I'll take some of that. But we weren't saying it loud enough that she could hear us. But there's a possibility she might have.
She could at least hear you mumbling
Yeah, I
right
think,
after she
yeah.
acted like an asshole to
And so
you.
like there was definitely that. There was she noticed that I was being mouthy. So then she brings over the drinks and she like slams it. She just like puts it like that. And we're like, all right. And she never brought menus. She went back to like wiping things down and just doing whatever. She was on her phone. And so I finally like wave her down a little while later and get her to bring over menus. And she was like super annoyed to bring us menus. And so then a different bartender comes over and he goes, hey, can you help us? And she was super nice. She's like, yeah, what's going on? I was like, I just get the feeling she doesn't want to serve us at all. So can we just work with you? And then that won't have to be a thing. And then the other girl comes over and goes, excuse me? And I was like, oh, I just feel like you maybe are having a day or something. We don't know what we did wrong, but we feel like you're mad at us.
To wit, your response, excuse me?
Yeah.
When also like,
Not, I'm so sorry, you know, I'm busy.
Yeah.
They left me all this shit, and I don't mean to take it out on you. It's like, what?
yeah, she's just like, yeah, flexed on us. And I even worded it kind of like manipulatively, like, oh, I feel like maybe you're just mad at us. I don't know what we did. Like very like boyish.
Yeah.
And then so then the other bartender, she's like, I'll take care of you guys. Don't worry about it. So then this girl's like throwing
She's
a
used to
fit,
that bitch.
and she's annoyed. Yeah, and she's like kind of making stinks, but then you know whatever. So finally the meal's over, and that our bartender that's been whatever, she's now helping other people. I think she's got tables out here. The bitch one comes over and brings us our tab, and she puts down the thing, and it says that our server was the first one, not the one that helped us.
Yeah.
So I was like sitting there going, Brian, do you think this tip goes to like her? Or if it goes to like the one that
No,
helped
it
us?
goes to her.
Or maybe it's a tip pool or something. I don't know.
Probably
so
not.
I just like wanted to make sure. And so I was like, I go, hey, excuse me. Hey, does this tip go to you or does it go to like her? And she goes, why? And I was like, and I go, never mind, because I'm a coward. And then I start to fill out the tip, but then I started, this is the part of the story that was controversial, is I started thinking, wait, if I give her 0, then she goes, good, I'm glad I was an asshole to those dudes because they're assholes and they tip 0 and I knew they were going to be douchebags and fuck. And then she feels like kind of justified. But if I tip her 20% or better, then she's going to go, well, she didn't learn her lesson. That she should be punished for bad service. So I'm just sitting there and I was like just standing over it and Brant could tell I'm about to have a meltdown. So Brant just goes, I'm going to wait for you outside. You know, like he like removed himself from the situation. Clever way to not pay a tab also. So I'm sitting there just going on the thing.
I can't handle this, bro.
Yeah, and he just like, Jeff's about to unleash on this like freaking young bartender. So I go, excuse me, ma'am. And she like looks at me like, what does he want now? Like, so like she comes over and I said, listen, this was the worst service I think I've ever had by like a bartender, like ever. And I'm pretty old. Like I've been a lot of bars.
Not
so
my
I'm
first
going to
rodeo.
give you a choice. I'm either going to tip you $0 and you'll never see me again. We'll never have to deal with each other again. I'm gone. Or I'm going to give you what I would normally tip. I'm a good tipper. I pride myself on tipping good. I'll give you 20% tip and I'm going to tell your manager that this was the worst service I've ever had in my life and you should either go home today and change your attitude or never bartend again. And she goes, why don't you do both? And I go, okay, 0. Where's your manager? And I just like I was ready to snap. And then I complained to the manager and did the whole thing. But like I felt like that was fair.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
that's a good trade. Like, do you want to not get in trouble and just make 0 on me, or do you want to get good money and I'm gonna tell on you? I don't know.
You know, it's
Wow.
fitting
That's wild.
that we just watched one of the best Monday night games in the history of football.
Yeah.
Because you and that woman are the 49ers and the Seahawks. You're both heroes.
Yeah.
She was a complete douchebag
Yeah.
and deserved to get the complaint, the 0 tip. Everything
Right.
you did was absolutely correct.
Yeah.
But for her to dig in and say, do it all,
She
motherfucker."
doubled down.
She
as
doubled
Bill.
down.
She doubled down.
I
You're
can
both
appreciate
heroes.
that.
That's
Yeah.
why Bill liked
Both
it.
of you have my
Yeah.
respect.
Bill was like, I like her in this story. And I was like, no, Bill.
Yeah.
You were absolutely right.
Stuck
In
to our
fact,
guns.
I
Yeah.
actually thought you were going to do what I've seen.
What?
I've seen people I've had people give me money because I did so much work covering for some
Idiot,
shitty
yeah.
server that I
Yeah.
worked with
I've done that.
that they've just said, hey, Mike, this is for you,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And I mean, I have most of the time when that happens, it's somebody being an asshole, but there's been a couple times and I will give the money to the other person.
Yeah.
You know, like later or once I did it right in front of them just because they were such pieces of shit.
Oh, yeah,
And they
yeah.
were just taking their shit out on a coworker of mine. But a couple times I've kept it because it's like, yeah, I did all the fucking work.
Yeah, this
I
person's
hate
obviously.
working
Yeah.
with this person.
Yeah.
That's what I thought you were gonna do was say, hey, 0 for her, $20
Yeah.
for you. You saved this. If it wasn't for you, we would have left an
You know
hour
what?
ago.
That's I've never thought about that actual server that helped us in this story. Because like it was such a fit to like complain to the guy and left, and I didn't tip anything. I should have found that other chick. Yeah, that's
but
good.
complaining to her manager, totally appropriate. I've done that.
Why
Yeah.
don't you do
I've
both?
I've said to servers, I'm giving you your
Unbelievable.
20% because I do this fucking job, but I've been here for an hour. I've watched you,
Yeah.
and you don't care. You don't care about me and my wife. You don't care about anything. I know when people are busy and when people just suck, and you suck.
Oh, I love.
And I've
You've
told
said
the
that to me.
manager,
Oh, I
I've
love
said,
that.
look, I'm sorry, but like when the managers had to visit my table because everything was screwed up so bad
Sure.
that they were like, we ordered an appetizer first and specifically said we'd like that first. And then, it comes the burger. Like when I used to eat meat, an easy way to tell your server doesn't give a shit is when your burger comes late and the bun is hard.
Yeah.
Because that means it's sat in the window drying out for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like, and they're lying. Oh, I hate when people, the kitchen's this or the kitchen. I never
I know that it's not.
blame
Yeah.
even if it is the kitchen's fault, I will say I'm sorry, we're having a rough day.
Right. But it's
whatever.
such an easy way to pass the buck.
As soon as people,
Because they're not going to be able to talk to the kitchen staff.
and they shuck responsibility,
And
I
the
know
kitchen
that they're
staff
full of
can't
shit.
defend
Yeah.
themselves.
You did nothing wrong, Jeff. Bill Dwyer's a fucking idiot.
Thank you very much.
And this is from somebody who's been doing it for 22 years.
The other thing that I always used to say that used to piss off all the girls at the place I worked at, Rock Bottom Brewery, is they'd be like, I went to her table like 3 times, and she's asking like she wants ranch. Couldn't you have asked me that like the first? Like he said, no, but these people are dumb. And also, server short for servant. If you ever think you're better than bringing people mustard to their table, then quit and find a different job, because that's what we do. We bring people mustard, and we bring people silverware, and we bring them burgers.
I agree with all that.
Yeah.
But that's why I treat people like they're all fucking morons.
Yeah.
And they will have French fries and they'll say, do you want anything with your French fries? No. You don't want ranch with your French fries? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then their buddies staring at me. And I go, do you want some ranch? Yeah.
Yeah.
I go, and I'll say, like, you were just going to wait until I fucking came back and then send
Yeah.
me for more ranch, weren't you?
I don't know.
This happened yesterday at work. A couple came in. The guy asked for coffee. And I said, do you want cream?
Yeah.
And if I ask if you want cream and you want non-fat milk, that's where you say, actually, I
Do you have
prefer
non-fat
non-fat
milk?
milk.
Yeah, exactly.
This guy goes, cream, yes, please. And his wife goes, I'll have the same. I bring him the coffee and her
With
the
it in
coffee
there.
and the cream. No, I just bring it.
Oh,
cream.
outside.
And she goes, do you have milk? And I was like, you fucking cow. I literally gave you every opportunity to
Yeah.
ask me for milk. Now I've got to fucking waste 30 seconds to
that's
go get you milk.
I don't
That
know
is
why
because
annoying.
you're so
Why
stupid.
That's
haven't you
annoying.
written a book about like all the things that annoy about like service? Because here's the thing: service industry people buy it and be like, "It's accurate, dude. We hate all this stuff." But
Yeah.
also, if regular people read it, they go,
Nice to have
"Oh,
a handbook.
I do that."
Yeah, it's
And
nice
they
to have a handbook. Because I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that I do at a restaurant that I don't think about.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
like is driving you up a wall, and I would like to know that so I
Right.
can fix that behavior.
And then you, as a server, you're like, I'm putting that in every person in my family's stocking. I'm buying 10 issues of these books and I'm
Yeah.
putting it in there.
Now, I quit comedy,
Yeah,
but
which I want to talk about.
you will admit that I was at one point a semi-funny,
You're very funny. What are you
intelligent
talking about?
writer
Yeah.
comic. I wrote solid material about working in a restaurant
Yeah.
and would do it in fucking bars in the middle of Montana. They hated me. They
Well-
fucking hated me because it's just condescending,
Right, but in a book,
self-righteous
that
bullshit.
goes a long ways. Let me look at
Eh,
Chelsea
maybe.
Handler. Look at like any of these other things. Like snarky is
Yeah.
like a thing in a book.
I do. I mean, I remember when I used to write those server tips and restaurant tips. How to be like little tricks to be a good server and little tricks to be a good customer. And you, a long time ago, said you should put those down on like
Yeah.
a list and try to make a book out of it. And I still have them
Well,
all.
I'll co-write it with you. I could
compiled.
even get us an author, and I could get us like a lit agent that would be like, we can make that book if you guys write it, we can publish it.
Yeah, they were just stupid things like, if your restaurant only allows automatic gratuity for 6 people and you only have 5 people at the table, but one of them is pregnant, counter is 2, add your 18%.
That's great. I was just so manipulative about the auto grad. I would literally, so like at one point our restaurant had an auto gratuity. So if there's like however many people, like I think our restaurant was like 8 or more, you can naturally tack on 18%. And then also there's a section if they want to add more. But so many people would be like, wait, there's an auto gratuity, like so that we had to start telling them before the meal, hey, just so you know, there's an auto gratuity that's 18% that's added. I want you to let them know so it doesn't surprise you or like whatever. What I started doing is I started going, I would never tell them. And then I would say, it'd be like a table of like 20 or something. And I'd go to like whoever the guy is paying, like the boss or the CEO. And I say, hey man, we're supposed to tack on like an 18% auto gratuity. I took it off. I don't expect you to have to pay for an auto gratuity. If you want to tip me more, that's great. If you want to tip me less, that's great. But I just want to let you know that I didn't put it on there. And I give them the tab. Always, 100% of the time, just because I had that little interaction with them and treated them like a human, they would always tip me like 30%, like always, 100% of the time. It's so manipulative. Yeah. And also, when I was doing that, it was when we didn't have the auto grad anymore.
That's funny.
Yeah, but I also did it when the auto grad, but I did it after.
I'll tell you what drives me fucking nuts is when I go to a restaurant with a group of people, and I always look for that auto grad when I'm with a group of like 6 or more. And the servers that will not tell you, and they just give it to you, thinking that you're not going to pay attention and tip anyway. And then
tip again. Oh, yeah. That's such a.
If you tell me there's an auto gratuity, I will make sure that it's 20% or more. You know, I will add to the because auto gratuity is always 15 or 18%, and I'm a 20% tipper after tax, and it's always before tax. So by doing the auto gratuity, you're betting you're losing what 3%, you know, a few dollars. And just for the guarantee, which I do all the time. I'm like, I don't want to deal with worrying about these people tipping me or not. I'm giving them good service. I don't want to fucking hate them afterwards. So I'm just going to do the gratuity. But I tell them, and if they really want to tip more, you can tip, and I tip more.
Yeah.
But if you don't fucking tell me, I will absolutely complain.
Right.
I've told managers, your fucking server
risk.
tried to pretend that there was no gratuity and tried to rip us off.
Yeah, I mean, and that is a huge risk, pissing off a customer. That like
I worked at a restaurant once where the way that it printed out on the check was the last thing listed was the auto gratuity. And there were fucking servers that would tear that off. So you didn't realize, and they had to restructure. This is, I can't remember if it was,
ripped it off.
It was
Wow.
either at Applebee's or at Hard Rock Cafe, like a big corporate store. They had to restructure the entire printing system of receipts because people were committing fraud and stealing from customers.
That's crazy.
Ugh.
Wait, so you just mentioned it. I did want to talk about it. You said you quit comedy.
Yeah.
Which I don't know anyone who was ever working as a comedian quitting comedy.
You know, I was thinking I thought this would come up on this podcast. And what I'm actually going to do is, you know how they have those ex-sex workers that go and rescue people in the sex worker industry and show them that there is a life outside of that and you don't have to spend the rest of your life in misery in shitty hotels, hating life just for 5 minutes out of a 25-minute set of actual connection with an audience.
Are you going to awaken something in me right now?
I'm going to start traveling open mics and finding the losers and rescuing them. Pulling them out and showing them you can quit comedy and be happy.
That makes me laugh so hard as a guy who's in shitty hotels all the time and trying to connect with strangers who just want to see Chris D'Elia or some fucking celebrity.
I love comedy so much. And I do not regret quitting not even 5%.
I love that.
Nothing. I mean, my wife, I was lucky. My wife came along. I was falling out of love with comedy because of Los Angeles. You know, I mean, being a comedian in Seattle, I was a spoiled little bitch. I had all the stage time I wanted. All they cared about was being funny. You had fucking audience. I mean, even shitty open mics, people paid $5 to get into. They were committed to the show. They had an investment in the show.
They wanted you to be good.
They weren't douchebags just to be douchebags. And if they were, there were other people that paid $5 and said, hey, shut up, douchebag. I paid $5 too.
Yeah, because people in Seattle would just go, because that's when I was doing or trying to dabble in it before I moved out here, you know? And it's just like you can actually go up in front and like work on stuff in front of like an audience who's there to see comedy versus an open mic here where it's just other comedians, they do their thing and leave. So then by the time you get up there's 4 people. I'm like, oh, am I going to,
it destroyed.
You know, because you can see Dane Cook on the weekend. So why would anyone go to an open mic to watch, you know, Novice?
someday I won't regret it, or someday I won't be upset about this, but I am annoyed by the people who only want to go see the comics they know. Like,
Yeah.
it's they learn who the famous people are and then go, oh, I'm going to go see that person. And it's
Yeah.
like, hopefully someday I'll get to a level where that will be all my audience is just people who
Now,
know
are you
me.
just talking about LA, or are you talking about outside of LA?
All over.
Everywhere.
Because LA, it makes sense. Because LA, every poster you see, first of all, every shitty show is $25 to get in at the
Yeah.
store,
Uh-huh.
and you're half the time you are sitting, especially the bringers. The bringer
Chappelle
shows
show
are
and,
fucking
like-
miserable,
Yeah.
and you might have one good comic out of 10, not good as in funny person,
he has
but
jokes.
seasoned and
Yeah.
professional, and
Well,
you
I would
know,
say every
crafted.
time I've gone to like the comedy store or something like that, and to see these like lineups where there's like 8, kind of like well-known comedians or whatever, it's always the people at the beginning that I don't know
Who you liked best.
who I liked best, who I thought killed it. And
Yeah,
then
because fame is never, or not, it's not that it's never. Fame and a great set are usually not in the same
right.
category.
I've seen some real famous people do some real shitty comedy.
Yeah, it's very strange.
And I was like, whoa.
It's very strange to watch them. It's almost like they're kind of like, hey, I don't have to try. You're like, what are you doing?
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, it's a very it's weird. Anyways,
but I just
I love that you said that you don't miss it at all.
I don't.
Because I could never quit. I'm like 95% in love with it. We're like the opposite.
Yeah.
Like that. There's a 5% of me that's like, maybe Jeff just like take a year off and go in the woods but that's 5%. The rest of the 95 is like, yeah, dude, I got to get on stage tonight and I got to tell more jokes and make more money and get more attention and have people after the show giving me love.
It's not like I didn't mourn comedy
Mhm.
it's probably a year after I finally just quit.
Yeah.
Where it wasn't like I wished that I hadn't quit. I just wished it hadn't turned into what it turned into.
Right.
And I just had hope that maybe someday I'd go back to it or whatever. So it was like 2 years after I finally quit that I went to a show with Mitch Burrows, and I did a 5-minute set in front of 20 people, 25 maybe, and it was passable. It was fine. I was rusty, but it was okay. And Mitch was so sure that it would spark this thing in me
Right.
and I'd be back. It was like nothing. I
Really?
had nothing.
But that makes me happy to hear because it means you're doing what you want to be doing. Whereas guys like me and guys like Mitch are probably like, he just quit. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have a mutual friend who he made it pretty far, like on this wrestling show, and he's always wanted to be a wrestler ever since he was a kid. He talked about being a wrestler, all these different things. And now he doesn't do it. But we suspect that there's something inside him that he still wants to do it.
Yeah.
I still want to
don't
be
know.
creative.
I can't be inside his heart. I can't be inside his brain. I don't know if he wants it, but I know that every day that he isn't doing it it's getting farther out of reach. Like comedy, like you could 10 years from now come back to comedy, but you can't 10 years from now come back to being an NBA player or like a pro wrestler or something. And so we talk about it often. Like they were just like, man, we just really want. I either hope he doesn't want to be a wrestler, like in the situation you're in, you don't want to be a comedian, or I hope that he does want to be a wrestler and he gets his ass back in there as soon as possible. But I like that you said you're like, I don't want to. It sparked nothing.
Now let me say this: if something happened, and my marriage fell apart, I would absolutely go back to doing comedy.
Really? Why do you say that? What makes you say that?
Because it's my wife is my one true love.
I love that.
Right?
That's so nice.
But comedy was my one true love.
Before her.
Yeah. So if I lose her, I mean, maybe something else will be there, whatever. But I just assume that if I lost that domestic relationship, I would go back to, even if, I mean, I wouldn't do it here, not in LA. I'd fucking move back to the Northwest and do shitty open mics in Portland or Seattle. And,
Interesting.
Yeah, I'd end up one of those guys, who we knew when we were starting out, those guys that just worked day jobs and come and hung out at open mics on weekends.
It's a fun ass life.
Yeah.
I was going to say, that was a pretty good, what you just said is beautiful. And I love that, because I feel very similar. But I was going to say, that's a pretty big commercial for Jeff Dye's feelings on,
my God.
on relationships.
It's a good ass life. I literally get to just have fun and do it, and then at night I get to talk. And I've actually kind of acquired the dream of being like, I remember like when I was in Seattle being like, man, imagine if they just paid me to do that night stuff. Like if I was just making money to do that. And it's like, it's so weird to me that like at night they're just like, here's tons of money, and I'm just like, yeah, this is insane. I don't even have to go do that restaurant thing no more. Like I can kind of wake up at 11 and write and dink around. So, but I get that. I get it.
I do think there's just so many comics out there who are, I mean, like broken people who, end up just fucking alcoholic, drug addict, suicidal, and they can never get out. It's almost like an abusive relationship.
is.
That's what I felt like the last 6 months of, why am I still doing this? I hate it now.
Yeah.
I hated comedy when I finally quit.
I've said this before that I think what people are addicted to about comedy is everybody wants to be heard. So like you and Crystal, I watched you guys interact yesterday, which was awesome to just kind of watch you guys be with each other again. Just I've seen you, and I get to talk to her a little bit when I'm around both of you. But to watch you guys just interact, she just got off of work and she's talking about stuff and her friends and a thing that she went to at Old Navy and all these different things. And I thought it was very interesting because she just wants to talk to her best friend and the man that she loves. Like she wants to just kind of share all those feelings. And you get excited to see her because you want to talk to her. You want to share what you're talking about and things you're excited about. Bring her to the football game, even though she's not a real passionate Seahawks fan, but she was there for you. She wore the hat and she's excited to be a part of it.
I mean, technically being born in Washington, she's more,
but
Seahawks than me.
She's learning it, and she's, she was there because she loves you.
Yeah.
And so I always say, like, that's what makes comedy so addicting, is that you get heard every night.
Yeah.
And even if they're dumb strangers, or even if they're people you have an interest in, or their family, or it's a corporate or a charity, you can't change that it's nice to be heard. And people will just listen to you. You can just rant. Like, there's people in the world who can't just bust into their work and be like, fuck Donald Trump. But if you want to get on stage and say fuck Donald Trump, everyone, whether they agree or not, is just going to sit there and listen. Like, that's what you can at least admit, that they'll listen. And so it's an addictive feeling to go, hey, I've been isolated in my house all day watching Netflix and playing like Cuphead on Xbox. And now I'm about to go to the Comedy Store and have 400 people basically kiss my ass after I just make them laugh for 15 minutes. Like, and they're going to all listen. And that's a really addictive feeling. I think that's why they feel trapped.
It's not just the fact that they're listening. It's when you actually make a connection with people. Because I'm in recovery.
Right.
I did an interview, just not like a written interview over the internet, with this group that does recovery stand-up, and they sent out shows and stuff, and they were building a profile for me.
Yeah, I thought that was like that was your main goal.
That was my goal. I was gonna, not 100%. I wanted to be a mainstream comic, but I wanted to be like a Mike DiStefano type of guy. A guy. Do you know who Mike DiStefano was? He was a New York guy, and he was famous for being. He was on Last Comic Standing for one season.
But he was a legend before Last Comic.
Yeah, because he brought. He was a drug addict, a recovering drug addict, HIV positive, whose wife died of AIDS. He was a master of storytelling. He was a huge Moth guy, like the Moth storytelling people.
He's a lot like Tim Dillon too, in the fashion where he's like very real and raw.
Yeah.
Like there was a rawness to him, but it was also, you could still tell he was a sweetheart, you know?
But he would talk about stuff on stage that no one could possibly relate to unless they were a hardcore fucking drug addict.
Yeah.
And yet he made connections with people. And that was my goal. And I did some stupid interview for this site or whatever. And they said, what is my favorite part of, like, what's my favorite time on stage? It's not the laughs. It's not the afterwards people kissing your ass. It's these little moments in comedy where somewhere in the middle of a joke or somewhere in the middle between jokes, there's a silence in the room as everyone is just
connecting
together.
Yeah.
They're not laughing. They're just waiting for you to say something because they're invested and they care what you're going to say next. And we've connected so much that I don't even have to be speaking for 2 seconds.
Sure.
We're all part of the same.
I agree.
Those are my favorite times.
I guess I was being a little semantic-y, but like my meme, like being heard is that.
Yeah.
Like you're not just listening or hearing it, but you're hearing it like in your heart. Like you're being heard.
Yeah. But a lot of comics,
or received.
a lot of, people suck forever and they never get that.
Yeah.
They're just on stage ranting and whatever. And people are listening or they're in the room and they think they're being heard and they're not. And they just never get that.
Yeah.
And then they just can't quit. It's miserable watching people suffer through that for years.
It's pretty funny. You said you want to rescue him. That's such a funny thing. Like, hey, you don't have to do this. You can find other things in the world that will make you happy.
You know who would be my poster boy is? Do you remember Mauricio?
Yeah, he still does it.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this guy is unwatchable.
And he's been doing it as long as us. I mean, he's literally been as long as us.
The worst in history.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeesh.
I know. I remember there's a great moment with I don't know if I should say his name, but he'll admit to this. He wasn't good at the time. He might be great now, but at the time he was just this sweet guy that would come do stand up, and the only part of his performance that anyone would give a shit about is he'd do like a backflip. Remember Taylor?
Taylor Clark.
Yeah, has he gotten good?
That's what Reynolds told me. Matt Reynolds, our buddy.
Yeah, but Matt is like that.
I mean, Matt Reynolds is certainly a critic of comedy.
Yeah, but he'll always be, who the best in the world is Justin Ruppel. And we're like, okay.
He would never, I mean, I don't know, maybe.
He always says stuff like he
I think he's just trying to get at you.
What is that? He thinks he's going to piss me off. I was like, I love Justin Ruppel.
He told me legitimately.
It's not going to annoy me that you think Justin Ruppel's the best comic in the world. Like, I don't know why. He's like, Matt Reynolds just gets stuck on these things.
He was messing with you. But he legitimately told me Taylor Clark is better.
Okay.
He's a watchable comic.
When did he see
solid
him?
Middle.
When did he see?
Not too long ago.
Oh, really?
Maybe a month and a half ago.
So
a couple
at the
months
time,
ago.
Taylor was not a very good comic. He was an open micer. We were all open micers.
Yeah.
Even when I thought I was good, I was just king of the open mic, and I was still in the top 5. I wasn't even the best, So anyways, Taylor was so bad. And then one day, like on a Saturday, he's like, hey, you guys should come down to the skate park. Like I'm a sponsored professional skater. And we were like, what? So we went down there. And he was so good at skateboarding. He's doing these crazy things like on the skateboard, and he's legitly sponsored. Like he was like a professional skateboarder. And me and Brian, we remember looking at each other, and Andrew Sater was there too. And we were going, oh yeah, just because he's bad at this thing doesn't mean he's bad at everything. Like we thought just because he's bad at stand-up, and we see him bomb every night, he must just be a total loser and a failure at everything. But he isn't. He was a good guy. He had a cool family. He's a good brother, a good boyfriend. He's a professional skateboarder. But we just saw him be bad at something every night. We couldn't grasp that he might be good at something else. And I think that's kind of what it's like. Maranzio might have other talents he should pursue.
Oh, Mauricio, Jesus.
Or not Maranzio, yeah, Mauricio.
Yeah. And it sucks to even give that guy free rent in my head.
Yeah. He used to do a thing where he intentionally sang a karaoke song bad. Do you remember that bit?
No.
He would sing Zombie.
No, I don't remember that.
He would sing it horribly on purpose because this is what I like to do at the karaoke.
Jesus.
And everyone thinks oh, he's doing a thing where he explains how he pranks all the people at a karaoke bar. But now he's just kind of pranking us because he's singing it so bad.
Yeah.
And it's not short. He sings it so the whole first thing, and you're like, just okay, we get the bit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you remember Joe Detroit?
Joe Detroit.
Joe Detroit. Yeah. This guy was like a veteran, maybe, or he was a faker, but he would go on stage and just rant about the military putting chips in his head and stuff.
He was I think he only came 4 times ever, right?
Yeah, and I will never forget Joe Detroit.
He was so scary. He was unstable.
It was, and I would watch him for hours over watching 5 minutes of
Me
Mauricio.
too. Oh, who's
been working at this for his
But
whole
I'd
life
watch
now.
Joe Detroit over any of these other guys. Yeah, I'd watch him over Bill Burr. He was a psychopath that at any point could kill the whole audience. Not with laughter. He would murder everyone. He's psycho. On this last time I ever saw him at Giggles, he brought 7 plastic bags from Safeway or a grocery store. And they're falling apart because there's sharp items in the plastic bag, so they've got holes in it. And he's lugging them in, all super excited. He's gonna do prop comedy for the open mic.
Oh my God.
And I remember being oh my God, this madman just must have been walking around his apartment, picking up things, going, oh, this would work, and I could do this. And he's putting them in bags, and it was awful. It was just as you'd think it would be. Awful. It was so bad. Dude, thank you so much for being on this. How can if anybody wants to get to know our friend, you got anything to promote or anything you want to?
Come to the Nosh of Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
And have lunch. And if I ask if you want cream and you want milk with your coffee, say milk.
Fucking
Mike, thank you for
speak
asking
up.
me if I want cream to remind me that I do want something other than just black coffee because you're a professional. Now I'm going to ask you for milk. And if you don't ask me for milk and I bring you cream, don't just know that you already fucked up. That was your one chance.
That's it. You drink the cream.
No milk for you.
We're gonna co-write a book together. I think it's gonna be great about service.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm glad you came
I
on.
haven't done
Love
a
you, bro.
podcast in a while. It feels good.
Yeah. What you should start yours back up.
Yeah.
When what Tone Bear? What's going on? What's new? Got a new stream to announce?
No, we should do one.
Should we
though.
do one?
Let's do one.
I mean, let's announce one. Let's just say, hey.
One of these upcoming weeks or something. We'll figure it out.
We'll tell them we're raising money for something and then just keep it.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
That's
We would
terrible.
never do that.
That's a Terry Taylor move.
That's right. That's why I'm thinking, like, now I'm in the mindset of a guy who...
I'm thinking about the backlash of this because Terry's going to hear this. I'm
Oh, he
sure
won't?
he's still obsessed with you.
Oh, I don't think so.
You don't think so? Oh, thank
No,
God.
I mean, let's say Andrew tells him or Brian, but I don't regret anything I've said. All truth.
I know.
Yeah.
But he's still my comedy father.
Oh, yeah. That I'm the same in a way.
He's my Darth Vader
Yeah, you don't feel bad about hurting Darth Vader.
Yeah.
until he's dying. And
Unless he's redeemed, but he's yet to
And
be
that
redeemed.
analogy will make Terry so happy. Like, Terry's like, I get to be Darth Vader?
Yeah. But yeah, you can see what I'm up to. I got video game podcasts at youtube.com/screenpeakers.
Yeah.
And then
How's that been going? Growing? Same? Plateauing?
Yeah, well, we need to
It's all right. Let's
pump
boost
it up.
Let's
We need to
pump it up.
But yeah, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at I am Tony Reavis and see
That's
what I'm
the
up
problem
to.
with my touring schedule and you having to work. It's
Yeah.
hard to get this content out.
I know.
Which leads me to my next part. If you guys want to subscribe to the Patreon, it helps us so we can put out more content and put more stuff and more videos and more things for you guys to watch. If you want to do that, Patreon.com/Jeff Dye or just Patreon.com/Jeff Dye. Thank you to all the Patreon subscribers that we've gotten some new ones.
Yeah.
Just this week, which has been great. So thank you guys so much for that. Ryan W. I'm going to see you in Vegas this weekend, leaving you some tickets for that for the Patreon, which you get free stand-up comedy live tickets to come see me if you're a Patreon subscriber. So that's worth it just for that. But also you can watch the podcast instead of having to listen to it. And thanks for being here, guys.
Friendship.
And just like that, that's episode 84. Hey, shout out to all the subscribers. Shout out to all the Patreon subscribers. We love you guys. Thanks for being here. Any questions or concerns, go to patreon.com/Jeff Dye. Subscribe. You can talk to me directly. Love you guys.